Hello, everybody. Today we have with us Alan Pickett, who is the Executive Director of the Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Covington. Alan, thank you for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Good to be with you today, Kris.
So, Alan, you've now been in your role leading the Catholic Charities here in the diocese for a number of years now. Before we get into the actual work that you do, tell us a little about your background and how you found Catholic Charities, et cetera.
Sure. Well, Kris, I've been at Catholic Charities now over 5 years. Oh, actually over 6 years. Time goes fast. My background, I was a CPA years ago at Ernst & Young and worked in public accounting for a number of years, about 28 years to be exact, and then did a stint at Deloitte and Touche, and then went to a law firm, Taft, Stettinius & Hollister. I was the executive director there for 8 years. And throughout my life, though, my faith has always been important, and so I pursued a degree at the Athenaeum of Ohio, got a master's degree in pastoral ministry, and was looking for an opportunity to serve in conjunction with my faith, and also just to give back. So I saw the opportunity here a number of years ago and pursued it, was hired by Bishop Foys, and I represent the diocese in our social services ministry in the Diocese of Covington. We were known years ago as Catholic Social Services, but our name has been Catholic Charities now for a number of years. And but we do a number of different social service ministries.
And one of the best known is probably the Parish Kitchen, but in addition to that, we'll come back to that in a moment, a lot happening there, but talk about the other actual work that your organization does.
Sure. Well, I would call four separate pillars, if you will. We do family services, which includes parenting classes, school-based counseling. We have a overall general counseling program that includes adoption and pregnancy counseling, marriage and individual counseling for adults and children. We have a housing program where we actually house 16 families who were formerly homeless in Ellesmere. And we do some housing counseling as well to help people stay out of foreclosure, help them make their budgets, get bridge loans if needed between jobs. And obviously during COVID times, there are a lot more issues with that. And then just overall community outreach, which includes Parish Kitchen, but also we do jail ministry. We do advocacy at the state level with the Catholic Conference of Kentucky. And we're always looking for ways to support the poor and the forgotten, in conjunction with our belief that the gospel tells us to feed the hungry, to house the homeless, to welcome the stranger, all part of Matthew 25.
Well, and the work that's been going on for decades now, and under the similar operation has been amazing. So you alluded to COVID, and the situation you're dealing with there is challenging for everyone, but especially most of your clients in particular. Maybe speak to the things you're seeing that have really impacted you and then the organization here since the beginning of the year.
Right. Well, we've obviously had to adapt, but so have our clients. You're right. And if anything, the COVID situation has created a lot more stress in lives of many people and families and children. All of us are dealing with different adjustments to our schedules, to what we can and can't do. Sometimes it's just being, teaching your kids at home instead of in the classroom. It may be that you're isolated from your family members. You have elderly family members who are in hospital or nursing care and cannot receive visitors because of the restrictions. All of that creates stress and anxiety. So we see that in the clients that we serve in all of our programs. And of course, then we have to adjust with it too. So when our office was closed, for example, we learned to adapt doing counseling services over telephone and video conferencing, just like this video conference here. We can do what they call telehealth. And many of us are seeing that with our doctors and nurse practitioners, that quick screenings you can do remotely. And so we now offer the option to any client to do telehealth services also. So it's been a good learning. It's something that maybe would not have been readily accepted in normal times, but because people want and need services, they're willing to adjust the way we deliver.
And Alan, you can just see so much work that's being done up in front, but so much work that's being done quietly for example, the telehealth, the counseling, individual and families. It's just amazing. You're based there. Your main office there is in Latonia, correct? Your footprint across from Holy Cross. And then maybe speak to the nuts and bolts too. How many roughly clients will you serve in a given year?
Wow. Thousands of people in total, but, we're a small agency. We only have about 25 employees. Not all of them are full-time. We are not only here in Latonia, but we have, as I mentioned, the housing program in Ellesmere, and we have the Parish Kitchen, which is right in the heart of Covington at 16th and Madison. And, each of our programs, we supplement with volunteers that help us. The biggest cadre of volunteers is probably at Parish Kitchen, where we serve a meal every single day, and we need cooks like yourself who've sometimes cooked, and people that serve, and then other people that just help with various administrative tasks and maintenance and so forth, so that we get a lot done with a small staff. And I like to say that we make an impact every time one person at a time, I should say. It's not the number, but the quality. And every time we have an opportunity to be the hands and feet of Christ, that's making an impact and a difference in our community.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest changes just recently is moving Parish Kitchen from Pike Street there to Madison. Maybe speak to that. And really, this was planned well earlier than COVID, but then how you've had to adapt for this meal every day.
Right, exactly. Well, we've been serving a meal every day, 365 days a year since about 1974, about 46 years. We were at Pike Street for many, many years. And back in March, when the COVID first hit and the restrictions started to come out, we decided very quickly that we should start serving meals as a takeout meal rather than welcoming people into our dining room. And of course, the ministry of Parish Kitchen is not just a meal. It's the welcoming, it's the dignity and respect we offer each person who comes in there. Anyone who comes to our door between 11:30 and 1:30 is welcomed and served. But in March, we had to start delivering the meals in a takeout container, and it really minimized our opportunity to interact with our guests, which obviously is a disappointment, but first and foremost, a meal. People need to be fed. People need sustenance to be able to get by. And so we've not missed a day, even during COVID. And then along the way, we were already planning, as you alluded to relocate our facilities. And we'd already bought a building before COVID at the corner of 16th and Madison. It formerly housed the Northern Kentucky Community Action Commission, and we converted it into a kitchen and dining room. We've got a beautiful new facility and a beautiful, more spacious dining area, and we've not been able to welcome any guests into our dining room yet. And we look forward to the day when we can, but it's a wonderful space. It really has been transformed. I think people that drive by there now see our sign that says Parish Kitchen up above the doorways. There's big open windows. There's a courtyard. We now have a fence around it to keep it safe and also welcoming. And like I said before, we use a lot of volunteers to serve the people that eat there every day. We're serving about 250 meals a day right now, which is up considerably from what we were serving even just a year or two ago.
Well, that's a huge takeaway to me, is that, you've got this need that is adapted and changed based upon those who would use other services like counseling and family work, as well as then now this shift that you've had to make with Parish Kitchen and the increase. Can you get a sense, is there any specific demographic that you're seeing an increase of, or?
Yeah, I would say, we've always served the homeless because, anyone who comes to our door will get a meal, but we're closer to neighborhoods where there are families that maybe are just getting by, that live with, as a family unit, they have housing, but they're just trying to stretch their dollar. So we're seeing more family people that live in the neighborhoods around our new location. So that may explain some of the increase. It's hard to know exactly. We don't ask a lot of questions. It's to give people dignity and respect and space. So we don't know all of their circumstances, but we try to get to know them when we feed them and when we greet them. And certainly there's the other thing is that our new location is much closer to other social service agencies like the Life Learning Center, the Career Center, Health Point. All of those offer additional services to the same population that we would serve. So, we try to encourage them to refer people to us for lunch. And likewise, when we get to know people's needs, we'll send them to some of those other locations nearby.
And Alan, you've now in this role 6 years. And as we wrap up, if I would ask you this question, have there been maybe one or two really surprises or the things that you would take away thinking, wow, I didn't know this 6 years ago, and Northern Kentuckians and those in the area would really benefit from knowing from now you're experiencing and what Catholic Charities does?
Well, I would say the Northern Kentucky community is a very supportive community. One of the things that I was really impressed with from the beginning, I'm seeing it even more right now, is the way the other agencies support each other. And I mentioned just a moment ago, the fact that we're closer in proximity to several other social service agencies, and just being partners with them has been hugely helpful to each of us. And it helps the community when we can supplement each other's services by referring to the other services that are nearby. So I'm really grateful and appreciative of that. I guess one other thing I would say that's been really awesome is during the COVID times, obviously there's a lot more needs out there, and people that support us financially have been very generous. We've been able to make it by the generosity of many people that help us financially, and so that's much appreciated. It's much needed, and thankfully it has continued to be strong even in these difficult times. So I think that may be just the generosity of our community, but also the church. I think that we are faith-based. We're part of the Catholic Church, and people who share our faith, recognize the opportunity and the call to serve. And that's one way people can serve if they don't have the time, but they have the financial wherewithal. They've been generous with us.
Probably no other better way to wrap it up than that, Alan. And thank you for your great work and the great work of the diocese and Catholic Charities, really. So for the whole community. So thank you, sir, so much.
Well, Kris, thank you for your service as well. I appreciate it.
You bet.